And there we are, guys. We're running about 10, 11 minutes late tonight. Preston did his show from 7 to 8. Buddy's in-house, and it's been a long day. And it's been a crazy 24 hours. LSU has their new football coach. Brian Kelly arrived at the airport a little bit late, 40 minutes late, actually about 3:10 this afternoon. Of course, a lot of you probably saw it live, and we had it on TigerBait using Tiger TV's video feed. And just been a lot of analysis, and I wanted to get Buddy in here tonight for sure to talk about it. And he asked me before we went live, what would I give it on a 10 scale? I give it a 9, so we're going to see what he thinks. But, of course, we're brought to you by Pride Roofing. Do me a favor, like, share, subscribe. We're only on YouTube tonight. We're trying something new. We're not streaming to Facebook as well. So do us a favor. Please share this out to social media on your own Facebook walls and everywhere else. Very much appreciative. What do you think, buddy?
Good afternoon, good evening, and it is finally over, Mike. You know, you and I have gone through this thing of the hurdles. Of course, about 6 weeks ago, I told you, man, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And I kind of took the first couple of weeks off, and you were grinding every night, and then I kind of picked it up, and then you got back to we were grinding, and of course, obviously, we had a lot of talk about Lincoln Riley, and you know, those Oklahoma people said, there's no way he'd leave. Of course, he did leave. He left LSU on the altar, but he also let OU on the altar and got a great deal.
Man.
And when you look at the way he presents himself, he's a Hollywood kind of guy. They had the red carpet, but he didn't want any part of the SEC. And that all being said, you know, whether or not they talked to his agent, offered him and all that, that's behind the it doesn't matter anymore. Brian Kelly, as you and I were talking, and you mentioned this three times during these 6 or 7 shows we've done, you thought that there was a chance that he would be in the mix. Of course, the first time Scott Woodward talked to Brian, he said no thanks. And then hearing the AD today, he says, you know, I could tell he was getting a little bit antsy. Folks, when you stay somewhere 12 years now,
I think 7 or 8 years is probably tops.
12, and that's the crazy thing about Saban. I want to tie in that. I looked it up. There were 4 candidates that almost had the Alabama job before Saban got it. Rich Rodriguez was the last one, but David Cutcliffe and Steve Spurrier and another guy. And so you got to get some luck when you're hiring. And look, everybody was all in on Lincoln Riley because after 19, we wanted to see if LSU could kind of replicate and duplicate on the offensive end. Certainly he needed a defensive coordinator, and certainly they needed to be tougher because Lincoln Riley's teams are more finesse than physical. That being said, that goes to hell in a handbasket, and you gotta, you know, we say it all the time. Man, he's a magician. The guy just does incredible work, and how proud is the LSU Sports Nation now bringing in Kim Mulkey, Jay Johnson, and now Brian Kelly. So with
Will Wade, Beth Torina, the volleyball coach, what's his name?
Well, Russell Rock is the beach volleyball
Beach volleyball.
coach. Yeah. Jay Clark, the gymnastics. I mean,
the roster.
It's a good time to be a
Track.
Tiger fan. And here's the other thing that I feel so good about, because, you know, I felt embarrassed because I told the people a couple times, Mike, man, be happy. You're going to finish this season with a blur and you're going to get a new coach. But it was hard. It was hard on, can you imagine, and we talked about how hard it's been on the recruits, but it was hard on the media. It was hard on the fans. It was hard on the mamas and daddies. And it was hard because you had a lame duck situation, but you're still trying to recruit and you're still trying to win. So this is something we'll probably never, ever see, at least in my life, I'll never see a situation like we just went through with an interim coach and the lame duck and all the craziness. But I think that potentially this could be a home run hire. Now, some things have got to happen, but what I'm most excited about is bringing back the toughness of LSU football, and I think he'll do that in due time, and changing the culture, which has gotten a little bit out of control and more me versus we in the last, ever since Leonard Fournette decided not to go to the bowl game, you could start to see, and this is an evolution everywhere, not just LSU, but Brian Kelly is a Saban type of coach, and he's going to draw a line in the sand. And, folks, do not freak out if there's a lot of people that leave, transfer portal or whatever, because he's going to have some people coming in. But thank goodness it's over. And I think most people, at first you say, it's not a sexy hire. But everybody has open arms, welcomes him to Baton Rouge, the LSU Nation. You know he's going to eat great food. And I think it's going to be a hell of a fun time to follow. As we know, we're doing this show because basketball tomorrow is at 7 o'clock against Ohio.
And he's going to be there at halftime.
He will be there at halftime. But
Dollar
Mike,
tickets.
2 weeks from tomorrow is National Signing Day. How many can they get on the line? How many can they salvage? How many can they bring over from Notre Dame and previous verbal commitments to Notre Dame? All of that in the works in the next 2 weeks.
Well, this is what I'm going to say. You bring up National Signing Day. After what we've seen and how this played out, what it does, what we're seeing across the country, athletic directors firing coaches because they feel they got to make a move, and because of the early signing period, they basically make moves during the season. We see that as an athletics director, you really can't consider NFL coaches because you can't get them. And so, in my mind, I think after years of thinking the early signing period was a good idea, I think it's bad. I think it needs to go. I think they need to repeal it. I really do.
I was one of the ones that was for it because I always said, why make a school continue to pay money recruiting a guy who wants to verbally commit and sign? Also, of course, early enrollees will get an idea of that. But I understand what you're saying.
That's the caveat. I will say you can have an early signing period if someone is a midterm grad.
Yeah.
But the old system worked too. They would still get grant and aid, but really they would be officially a signee in February, but they could be there midterm. And in the old way,
you're trying to bring back the Bayou recruiting badge.
Yeah, well, no, but I think.
Vince and Ray and Chico.
I do think it's more fun for those that have followed recruiting for years.
But social media and Twitter have made that obsolete. You know that.
Well, no, but I think if you have that January, it makes it more fun regardless. But that's not the point. It used to be when you hired coaches, or when you got your head coach in early January, they would go to that coaches convention, and you'd have a bunch of wheeling and dealing in hotel rooms, and who's going where, and that's where coaches went, and that's when they met coaches and they got jobs. And if you do it, and so that would open up, what is it, January? What's the date for the NFL where those guys can start talking? Yeah. Last regular season game. Mm-hmm. Well, so then that opens them up. So now it's set up where NFL coaches can never go to college unless they're on an NFL staff that just got fired.
Well, I was going to say, in case they got fired. And listen, the reason this was so advantageous for Alabama getting Saban is, if you remember, they didn't have an early signing period. So all those coaches before him turned it down. I just read a story before the show today. Rich Rod was this close to saying he's going to be the next Alabama coach. And inexplicably, he said, I'm going to stay at West Virginia. He stayed one more year. And, of course, his career has been up and down since. But, Matt Rule was a guy that was in the mix. And I'll tell you a guy I know that they talked to, and, man, he's impressive. Eric Bieniemy is going to be a great head coach. I don't know when he's going to get the opportunity. That guy is well-spoken, and now we're going to get and sink our teeth.
He's a guy that could be a guy, but he can't be right now. I don't know. I just think, so now you're seeing, and then I think we're really going to see the logistics of this play out if LSU does indeed get a bowl game, right? And then, the current staff members will prepare the team and get ready for the. But are you going to be intermingling them with new coaches? And then how do you do that with recruiting? Who gets to go on the road? So, do you have some coaches that are actually coaching the team, but then because you brought in new coaches that you want to introduce to the recruits, those coaches can't have any interaction at all with recruits because you can't double up. You're going to get hit with an NCAA violation. You have to designate coaches and stuff.
I think that's a perfect question for you to ask Coach Kelly tomorrow.
Yeah.
No, seriously. Of course, we did call Vegas. Michael Cobble is the odds-on favorite to get one of the first three questions in there. Jacques Doucet.
But he'll try for 16.
But look, it is a new day. Tigers with an incredible win over A&M. How about Jimbo Fisher? Once again, another 4-loss season. Excuse me. And Mike, what a great pass and catch with Jeray Jenkins. It couldn't have happened two classier guys like Max Johnson and Jeray Jenkins. And, of course, now the process. Brian Kelly met with the football team at 4:30 today, and now we will see as he tries to rebuild. Don't you think that LSU is going to be a physically, mentally, and psychologically tougher football team moving forward when you see his body of work?
I do. I absolutely do. But the key is getting that strength coach, Ballas.
Yeah.
And he is something else. So, Rick Kelly, hey, Mike, any news on the recruiting trail? Yeah, there's some out there, but the key is, I saw a little gathering tonight. I'm seeing some pictures of some people I know that are actually at a cocktail party and getting to meet Brian Kelly late this evening or early evening. I've seen that on Facebook. So, and we know we got a noon press conference tomorrow, and we know that he's going to be waving to the crowd and say a few words at halftime of the LSU basketball game, which I don't know if they're still out there, but they were giving away dollar tickets for upper deck. So, there's not a bad seat in the PMAC. So I think that's going to be a fun part of the game. So I think we're going to have a nice crowd tomorrow night for that. So, but then is there any stretch after the press conference in between tomorrow night where he tries to go out and visit some people in the area, recruits?
Well, you had interaction with people who went out to the airport, and I will tell you that whether it's Nick Saban or Skip Bertman coming over from Miami or Les coming over from Okie State or whatever, those that aren't familiar with this culture down here, they're going to struggle to spell go. They're going to struggle to say all the accents right, adjust to the spicy foods. But he's never been south of the Mason-Dixon line. And so this is going to be a challenge for him to fit in. And what I'm trying to say is I think it's going to take him a couple days to realize about this fan base and the passion. He knows about the expectations. I mean, it's standing right there, sitting right there in big, broad headlines. The last three that have coached here have won a national championship. And I don't think he will actually say it tomorrow, but he will intimate that is one of the main reasons he's here, to be a national championship coach. And I think, just like we told the Oklahoma people, no disrespect to them, they won over 900 games at OU. But they've got a problem on defense, and they've got to change some things. I think Brian Kelly has a better chance, not fooling with the academics and some of the other things, no JCs, all that. I think he's got a much better chance of winning the national championship. And if Les Miles and Ed Ogeron can do it, darn well the LSU fans invariably at some point are going to expect him to bring home that trophy.
Well, now does he get his OC over here?
Well, that's all where you're going to have to take those patience pills. You made a great point. I saw you and Preston talking about it. Who's going to be recruiting? Who's going to stay on? What's going to happen with the bowl game? And who can go on the road? And of course,
but Tommy Reese, he's being linked to the ULL job.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I know Walker and Jamie Howard really like him a lot.
Yeah. So,
but listen.
So now all of a sudden, let's say if they get a guy like that and he's successful, whereas USL then ULL used to be a place where coaches' careers went to die. Are they all of a sudden a hotbed for young coaches to make a name for themselves and get big jobs? So,
by the way, Tommy is not yet 30 years old. I've had a lot of input from Notre Dame. A lot of people think he's a young, up-and-coming guy. But the question for him is just what the question was for Billy Napier at LSU. Is he ready to take on the challenge of this? And listen, I think Billy Napier is going to do a great job in Florida. I'll make this prediction right now. He will get more 4 and 5 stars in the state of Florida than Dan Mullen got.
Oh, no doubt.
But
Mullen couldn't recruit.
There's nobody on the earth that knows how Brian Kelly's going to fit here or Napier's going to fit here.
I don't worry about all that fit stuff. Maybe I'm just way optimistic. I just think, first of all, I think he's going to enjoy it. I think he's going to enjoy the new experiences. I think he's going to enjoy the new people. I think he's going to enjoy making Cajun folks say things several times so he can really understand what they're saying if they come from different parts of the state where there's a thick accent, And maybe he's going to learn the difference between a Delcom and an Erath accent than he will from a Fouchon or, But I don't know. To me, especially at 60 years old, and like you brought him, was it Strickland at Notre Dame, the AD, where he said I could. Swarbeck, where he was basically saying there was some slips where he could tell that maybe he was looking for some, a new challenge or something new. But whereas most of the people at Notre Dame were thinking that he maybe had 2 or 3 years left and he was going to retire.
Well, 12 years is a long time anywhere. And if you would have told me Nick Saban would leave for Alabama, of course, after he had denied it, but he's been there since 2007. We're talking 14 years. I think that blew me away. What do you think he's got? I know Preston was a little concerned about his age, but I like what Blake said tonight. And I know this more so than you because I'm older, but chronological age does not determine how you live or react in this crazy world that we live in.
Man, there's...
Well, the guy's 55 or 60 is irrelevant.
No.
He's going to have the juice.
Look, you've got friends that you think, man, they're my age. I graduated high school with them, but, man, I feel like they look like they're 10 years older than me. Then you've got other ones that you think that age better than you do. Is he the normal 60-year-old? I don't know. I don't think he is. Saban surely isn't the normal 70-year-old.
Although I do see Nick slowing down a little bit. I do.
Okay. Well,
but that's 70. That's 10 years down the road.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, it does seem like, and I apologize because, we were trying to give information over here, and I got some information from the Notre Dame people last night, but it does seem like 10 years, $95 million with incentives to push it north of 100.
And he won't coach 10 years.
I don't think so either.
He won't go that far.
I don't think so either, but it's on paper that way. So you're talking about potentially a $100 million coach. Listen, Mike, you go back to 2000 when Nick Saban came in here, and we told this
What
story.
would Joe Dean think?
Oh, Joe Dean is rolling around upstairs saying, "Give me a cocktail, honey. They just hired a coach for $10 million."
Yeah. Barry Barbier, Preston had an extremely knowledgeable, great guest. I can tell you from what he said about Brian Kelly, we got another Les Miles. I heard Preston said that the guy he had on tonight was very, very good. I haven't had a chance to watch it. When the show's over, I'm gonna go watch it. But they're both of them, of course, here on our YouTube channel. I'm gonna watch that after the fact. But you could see, okay, you got a Midwestern guy, Irish. You can see
strong Catholic.
You can say, okay, was Miles Catholic?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think he was Cherokee Indian or something.
Yeah. Well, but look, what fan base or what media
I'm being
person
facetious.
is going to talk good about a guy that left you on the side of the road? Look at the pushback that Lincoln Riley is getting from the OU fan base. Nobody likes to say good things when you leave a program. But I do think that Brian Kelly is going to have some athletes that he did not attract at Notre Dame. He's going to have some athletes from the transfer portal. We hear that LSU is going to change the wacky tobacco policy, which we know has been a big factor over here for the last 10 plus years. So is he a finished product? And that's why I said the fit, okay? How long is it going to take him to get acclimated to Louisiana and this LSU fan base to get acclimated to him? And I think that is going to be when you start getting in August. And, Mike, I just looked at the schedule. I'm going to go ahead and call it right now. LSU got a chance to start 5 or 6-0 very easily in 2022.
American Top 40. If he brings in the right coordinators, we are going to own the SEC. Dane Bergeron. Hello, guys. Great to be a Tiger. Great day to be a Tiger. Mark Cumby. Hello, Mike and Buddy. Kevin Vercher at Blair Barbier, who said it was another Les Miles. No one can duplicate Les Miles' mismanagement of the clock. Yeah, look, LSU lost 2 bowl games with much better talent in my mind than Notre Dame, and I didn't see anything Les Miles-ish from Brian Kelly in those 2 losses.
Hold on, that just hit me, though.
What?
You said this with Ed in 5 years. Hey, if he's Les Miles, that means
the first 5 years. The first 5 years are okay.
He won the national championship. He played for another one. I'm being facetious.
The first 5. Well, 08 was bad, and Chavis and Montgomery and Mingo saved his butt in 2010.
But my point is, the joke is that he did win a national championship and he played for another one. So when you kick Les Miles below the belt, understand that there were some good times.
Yep.
Not that I was ever a big Les fan, and I did tell him, it just seemed like, Coach, every week you want to make Bo Schembechler proud. with that 3 yards in a cloud of dust. And a lot of people think, Mike,
How many national titles did Bo Schembechler win?
that would be 0.
Mark Cumbie, why isn't the men's basketball team ranked?
Because the AP and the media have a bias towards Will Wade. That's simple.
Yeah, he'll just go to the NCAA tournament and whip their rear ends. And, of course, Reed Wilson says it's easy because they haven't played anybody. All right, guys, let me scroll down a little bit. Yeah, Mark Cumbie, early signing period is the cause of this. I think it should go.
I am not ready to say that. I'd be shocked. I was a little shocked you said that. Look, for many, many years, you sit there and you get a guy that is solid and committed, and it's happening earlier and earlier.
Well, the reason why we wanted an early signing period because we were sick of kids flipping.
Yeah.
Well, what did Lincoln Riley just do, and what did Brian Kelly just do?
I understand, but don't you want to be able, once you get a guy signed, sealed, and delivered, number one, you say, hey, you want to be an early enrollee, and number two, you don't have to continue spending money on recruiting. You know he's going to be a Tiger or wherever. I like the early signing period, even though it didn't work LSU's advantage in this particular situation.
Blake Ruffino with Are You Serious Sports says, let's go. And he also adds, we are a visor state now. I don't know this, Charles Bowden. Do you know how much Kelly took advantage of analyst roles at Notre Dame?
Good question. Once again, should be a question. And you know what? Hey, look, you know where it started with analyst, huh? Nick Saban. And let's give Lane Kiffin a lot of credit. By the way, the Black Dog, I got to send a shout out to the Black Dog, who has been
Black Dog is an assassin on our YouTube channel comment section
Oh, wait.
after we do shows.
Oh, yeah.
He hits it after we do shows, and he reads us the riot act for not going after Lane Kiffin.
Well, but my point is that Lane Kiffin did tell Ed Ogeron about how many analysts that Saban had and all the things that they did, and you got to admit that did help Coach O in his tenure, although unfortunate to be so embarrassing that we have to reiterate that he also told Coach O a couple weeks ago, Coach O, you're playing the same frickin' defense every week. Come on, man.
They are Dane Bergeron with the super chat. Thank you, Dane. They are struggling to dress Kelly. He had a coat on that was 3 sizes too small. Kim Mulkey needs to be his fashion consultant.
Oh, goodness. I tell you what, you got to love you some Kim Mulkey.
I love the way Kim Mulkey dresses.
Oh, I just love the way.
What was that little thing with the cowboy thing she had on a couple weeks ago? With all the what do you call the fringe that like Buckskin Bill used to have? Yeah. No, when she gets dressed up for a basketball game, she looks sharp.
Look, Coach Kelly is going to get acclimated, and I'll tell you what, the first guy I talked to.
See, Preston wouldn't know who Buckskin Bill is, by the way.
No, I know. But the first guy I talked to is Will Wade. Will Wade's got a slamming purple jacket. I
always want it. Every time I see it, but it looks better in pictures than in person. But that thing pops. Yeah, I know. I think I asked him where he got it before.
Yeah.
I think he said his wife got it for him.
But, hey, that jacket's going to get even tighter once he finishes the rounds.
You're talking about the plaid one, right? With the purple? Yeah.
Yeah.
Daniel Glenn, Mike, how does losing O affect recruiting? The recruiting channel to St. Thomas Aquinas, and does Kelly have a history of working South Florida to talent to your knowledge? I really need to go look at that. I had Mike Frank on from Irish Sports Daily or on earlier, and I did a record only. That's on did about a 20, 30-minute interview with him about Brian Kelly, who he expects to come with him staff-wise. Talked about his philosophies. It's a real good interview to check out on TigerBait.com. So go subscribe. But I asked him about how they handled recruiting. Did they have territories? And I think it's very similar to what LSU does. Guys will have territories, and then once they pinpoint players of that particular school, then the position coach takes the position that's his.
I am interested to see, with National Signing Date so close, Kim Mulkey did it with class, with bringing some Baylor people over. Jay Johnson did it with class with Arizona. But, and I think you and Preston addressed this last night, not only do you have to get in the guy's ear, But you got to get him down here in the next couple of weeks if he's a verbal commitment to Notre Dame. And, you know, we all know all is fair in love and war and recruiting. So how many can he flip? How many can he keep solid here? How many do they sign early? And are you going to have access to those 7 transfer? Mike, if he's able to bring in 32 football players that are quality football players, and you know, you and I have agreed, O-linemen and cornerbacks right now, with all the corners that have left and all the corners that you've had to throw in there because of the Eli Ricks and Stingley and everybody else, those 2 are my priority recruiting areas right now. And look, you got to love his history with O-linemen.
Over and under on Logan Diggs.
I think he's probably going to come back to LSU. What you think?
You know who got in there? Terry Joseph.
Yeah.
Who's now at Texas, left Notre Dame for Texas.
Yeah.
Does Terry Joseph come over here?
Yeah.
You might lose Mickey, but you might get Terry.
Sure. And I'm sure he will be asked tomorrow, and he probably will not specify, but he is going to retain a couple coaches. At least that's what we're hearing. Probably for recruiting.
Falk and Corey Raymond.
Yeah, probably for recruiting.
Now, but is Falk? I wonder if Falk's 100% going to be a position coach, or does he go back to being an analyst?
Yeah, we'll see.
Pride Roofing.
Hi, I'm Michael with Pride Roofing.
I'm Alex.
Were you affected by Hurricane Ida?
Insurance claim, no problem.
Are you concerned about the shortage of building materials?
We have what you need.
We're licensed residential and commercial contractors.
In Louisiana and Mississippi.
We install shingles, metal, and commercial roofing. From Baton Rouge to Slidell or Houma up to the North Shore.
We got you covered. Call Pride, 855-PRIDE-16.
Pride Roofing, the official roofer of TigerBait.com.
And there it is, our good friends over at Pride Roofing, of course, the official roofing company of TigerBait.com. Talked to Mike earlier today. He's going to have some big news that I can't really say a whole lot about, but maybe at the end of December, something's going to happen that's going to be major. It's going to send shockwaves across the roofing industry. And so I'm so excited for my dear friend Mike Faraday and Alex Martinez. And they're doing fantastic work. Give them a call, 855-PRIDE-16.
Residential, of course, metal and commercial roofs, repairs and maintenance, quick turnaround. Obviously, high-end materials. I went over there, saw Tammy and Alex's wife. Really good people. But right here, when we talk about pride, this is what I take so much pride in. That's not just a catchphrase. That was a hell of a name for them because they take pride in the way they treat you. They are very cost competitive. I mean, we know the roofing business is incredibly competitive. Give them an opportunity. They're going to sharpen that pencil, especially if you mention Mike or myself. And not only are they likable, but they have attention to detail. And in fact, kind of what they do as a team is what I think Brian Kelly is going to bring in here. And he is going to bring back the pride of the Chinese bandits and the defense. Remember, we were talking about all that, and the old-timers, the physical and the toughness. Folks, trust me, give these people an opportunity. In Baton Rouge, 225-275-2041. You can probably talk to the one and only Miss Tammy. Her and Alex are just incredible. And I saw their staff. I saw their attention to detail. I saw all the 18-wheelers with the tarps.
And by the way, they tell you to stop in. If you want to go in and visit them on Florida Boulevard right there in Albany, swing in and say hello. Tell them you heard about it on TigerBait. And they still have that deal. They're running it in perpetuity. You call up and you get and order up a free roof inspection. Say you heard about it on TigerBait. They are going to pay for you to have TigerBait Premium for a year.
And they answer all the questions, because let's be honest, sometimes with hurricanes and insurance and adjusters and all that, it's not that simple. 855-PRIDE-16. I promise you, you will not be disappointed doing business with these people. And one thing about Mike and Alex, they work really hard, but they're the kind of people that look you in the eye and you know that there's no fake and there's no phony to them. And I promise you, you will enjoy the experience. Look, man, there's a lot of people in the roofing business. I haven't had one person that I've talked to that did business with Pride Roofing that was not disappointed and not actually not only impressed but freaked out. They get there, they do it, boom, you're out of here. I asked Mike and Alex, with the change of time, losing an hour of daylight, well, they get there an hour earlier. So
Yeah.
it's going to be done. You're going to be proud. It's going to look awesome. And as we know, with all of our crazy hurricanes and tsunamis that we deal with, you're not going to lose shingles and you're not going to lose any of your roof. So,
Reed Wilson, Peter King is such to rub him the wrong way because he did Peter King say something about, was he getting after Kelly the way he left? I know there's some national guys that are getting after him.
let
me tell you something about Peter King. He's a supreme D-bag and one of the original Corona brothers, Corona bros. Yeah, I have no respect for him.
Well, look, you got after, who were you getting after? Okay, you were getting after Feldman and others. Look, all I can tell you is this, folks. Brian Kelly is now the coach at LSU, and departures are not easy regardless of where you're at. Remember, we've been talking about this. This is like marrying somebody, and you're not going to find a perfect wife, and you're not going to find a perfect husband. Everybody's got stains and birthmarks and idiosyncrasies. And my point is that like people here in Baton Rouge and South Louisiana and the LSU Nation are going to listen to some Yahoo sports writer talk about a guy who's now the coach at LSU. Bottom line is, did you get excited when Nick Saban was here? No, because nobody even knew him. Les Miles got clobbered in the bowl game and came and had a hell of a career. Jerry DiNardo got fired, got beat 65-0, and because of him and Charlie Cusimano being tight on the board, he got the job over here. So you never know how it's going to play out. But if you worry about what sports writers or media people say, then you got a little problem in today's world.
You know what? Mike Frank, in that interview I did earlier today, I asked him about media, how he deals with the media, and media availability. We're going to see if LSU Sports Information is able to extend the media availability criteria that's been there ever since Saban arrived, because it's been carried over through 3 coaches now. Well, from Saban to Miles to Orgeron, but he gives access to coordinators.
Yeah.
And by the way, he gives like media like access to like full practices, like 5, 6, 7 of them in August.
Really?
In all of spring.
Well, and of course, what Saban did, he didn't let a true freshman talk unless he like Michael Clayton.
And by the way, I don't even know if that's necessary anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe Mr. Karam, I'd like to interview him. Maybe he'll beg to differ. But with the interviews that most of these high-profile recruits have been doing probably since they were in the 9th, 10th grade, by the time they get there, maybe they need a little cleaning up. But I don't know. I don't complain. But anyways, that's out the window anyways. Because if a media outlet really wants to interview a true freshman, they give them an NIL deal, and you bypass LSU altogether because they don't have any standing anymore.
Right. Well, all I can say is this. Look, we know that Notre Dame has a national following everywhere, Mike. They've got alumni everywhere and abroad. He's going to find out very quickly just how passionate and just how inquisitive this LSU fan base is. And, of course, at some point, some media guy is going to want to be a star, and he's going to post something on TV or radio or internet or Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat, and he's going to get a slap on the wrist. But let's be honest. That was about the worst luck we've ever seen going out to practice with the rain and all the other things. I am very excited that they continued the streak of the non-losing. I know people don't want to talk about the game and all that, but to sit there and play with Jimbo and have
now,
those
who
guys,
said all year that could happen?
You did. And so 4-loss Jimbo.
Less than 60 guys dressed out scholarship, and so Jimbo goes at 8-4. And what's funny is, and look, watching Billy Lucci and those guys contort themselves to justify and saying Jimbo is still the guy, and they're getting upset with the other Aggie fans who are like, don't think it's justified and getting not happy. Their expectations are high. And that showed you right there why Jimbo Fisher should have never been under consideration. Now they're claiming that Woodward offered Jimbo 8-year, $13 million.
A year?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just heard the
With what I've seen out of Jimbo Fisher, that's asinine.
Yeah.
That is asinine.
Well, Scott hired him and didn't have a buyout, but I just want to throw these names out here real quick.
I'll take Mark Stoops over him.
Oh, please. We can't stoop to that level. Although Mark's done a great
I take
job.
Mark Stoops over Jimbo Fisher.
Listen to this list real quick, and you're gonna have a little impression of Brian Kelly. You have Nick Saban, who everybody knows he's won 7. You have Jimbo Fisher, who beat Saban this year. First time an assistant beat Saban. You have Lane Kiffin, everybody's favorite, including the Black Dog. He just loves him some Lane Kiffin. He had a hell of a year at 10-2. They're going to play in a big game, and he's doing better, but he's still a smart ass. Now you've got Brian Kelly. That's 4 really good coaches right there. But let's not forget
Sam Pittman.
You got the Pirate at Mississippi State, and you never know when they're going to be good. I mean, on a given Saturday. You got Sam Pittman, who at 8-4.
Sam Pittman don't get any respect.
And he should be right up there. I think you're going to get the Coach of the Year to Kirby, but Sam Pittman deserves a lot of votes.
I love Sam Pittman.
And then, of course, you got Harsin at Auburn, who had Alabama beat if Tank Bigsby would have learned a lesson of not running out of bounds. He ran out of bounds and the clock stopped. If he would have just fell, they would have probably won that game. So what I'm saying to you is Brian Kelly embraced the challenge of the SEC West. And Lane Kiffin went out west and signed a deal with Shorman and Victoria's Secret to be the USC coach. He don't want any part of this SEC. And you know what? If I got my ass whipped in a semifinal game and gave up 7 touchdowns in one half, I don't think I'd want to come to
Let me tell you something. I was right where you were at. Exactly. It's obvious to me that guy wants no part of the SEC.
Well, no.
But then when I saw that package, I'm like, man, how do you say no to that?
Well,
you can be as competitive as you want and think you're going to want to kick every SEC team's ass, and you can do it. But when they're offering you a jet, they're going to bill you, what is it, $6 million? They're going to pay for your $6 million home in Los Angeles. They're going to give you $500,000 over the value of your current home, all the cash, access 24/7 to a private jet for him and his family.
Trace Armstrong has made some headway now.
I mean,
that's a hell of a deal. But you know what? To be honest, folks, and I think Oklahoma will tell you this, he's a better fit at USC. He just got Malachi Nelson, or whatever the guy's name is, the number 1 quarterback, 5-star. He just got him to decommit, and he's coming to USC. They've got plenty of money. NIL, they're going to get all those movie stars. They're going to get Snoop Dogg and everybody on the sidelines. USC is coming. The problem is that when you are in the SEC and you play great teams every week, I think it makes your team a better team to be able to handle the pressure games at the end of the year. And this is the one thing that Oklahoma has struggled with. They beat that all the teams in the, and I don't want to call them a chitty conference, but they're not great. Nobody plays defense there. And then you get to an LSU or Georgia or an Alabama or whatever, and you get swamped. Same thing with Notre Dame. But let's give this man credit. He had the kahunas to say, I'm not scared of those expectations and coming into the best division in all of college football, which that's pretty special when you talk about those 7 coaches in the SEC West.
No doubt. Let's see. Let me scroll through some of these. Yeah, Vice Man, and don't get me started on those state taxes. Yeah, you're talking about California, no doubt.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that, Vice Man. Yeah, he started with $6 million home in Los Angeles. In California, that's a shack. And don't get me started on the taxes.
But listen.
Well, yeah, what does a $6 million home get you? About 1,400 square feet?
Yeah. Look, back to what has transpired. I think that we saw it with Saban in Alabama. You kind of have to get a little lucky, Mike. And let's be honest. You and I talked to enough people to know you can spend it any way you want. LSU wanted Lincoln Riley, and it was serious money. He wanted out of Oklahoma, and him and his agent played this thing perfectly. But to come back, and I think Scott and his group, I think they found out Friday night that this didn't look good for Lincoln and verified it on Saturday, and they got right to work with Kelly. But to come back, because, Mike, you heard me the other day, and you were the same way. People were getting antsy. People were freaking out because they're seeing all these teams. Now, USC fired their coach September 13th. LSU got rid of and had the Sunday press conference on October 17th. But still, a lot of people were getting antsy about LSU naming a coach. And so not only did you get it in a time frame, but you got a guy that I think is probably the pick of the litter from what he's going to bring. Is he the most sexiest on offense? No. But he's going to bring back toughness, and he's going to change the culture of this program, which got, in my opinion, a little bit more me than we as of late.
And because of that, look, you've already got a thin roster. They're going to lose some kids.
Sure, absolutely. They are. But they're also going to get some. And
it's going to be very telling about who departs. Dane Bergeron says, Mike, stay away from what you and Preston were drinking last night. Man, I am not a whiskey guy. I like a good old-fashioned. I'll go to, Hayride Scandal, and I like that place. But I'll try a few of their things. But that stuff last night from Tremonti's was excellent. But and he says, hell no to Stoops. I'm basically just pounding the point and going a little hyperbolic over how against Jimbo and how had Woodward actually got him and Jimbo said, yeah, I'm coming. Could you imagine trying to roll that out with 4 losses and losing to Orgeron in the last game? With LSU with 58 scholarship players dressed out Saturday night? I don't care if he is playing a freshman quarterback. Max Johnson is essentially a freshman quarterback. I mean, that kid's been playing since week 1.
Well, look, I'm like, and I know Blake mentioned this, and I know you and I talked, when this kind of stuff happened yesterday, and of course, we talked about going on, and I thought you guys had a fantastic show last night, but that's not stuff you can just go to sleep on. I did not, so I look rough, and so I was going to bring the sunglasses, but I left them. But my point.
Well, look at me, I can't even get a haircut. This coaching search, like the guy says, I can take you Monday. I'm like, man, I can't leave. It's like, I'm over here looking like David Lee Roth right now.
I just wanted to say, Jimbo and me both have something in common. We look rough around the edges and rode hard, hung up.
Uh-oh, look who's here.
And we look better in 2015 than in 2021.
Look who's here. Scarlett Brown.
Scarlett. Where you been, Scarlett?
Look, she got a new picture with stars and everything. I wish these media persons would admit that they didn't know and they had 0 leads, just rumors and gossip.
Us?
I don't know, man. Scarlett, you mad at us? Who you mad at?
Hey, Scarlett, look, we just tell you, and if you don't think that that Lincoln Riley
I kept dropping Brian Kelly's name, Scarlett, if you were listening, you know.
And Lincoln Riley was a big part of this. But anyway, happy Tuesday night. And, hey, that's funny. She found us on a Tuesday.
And she says, Buddy in a conference with Nick Saban to compete against him. Let's go. I'm pumped. Did you watch my Jacques talk?
Today?
Yeah.
I did not see it.
I dropped your name in there.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well, I'll try to keep a low profile.
We were talking about practice access. And I said, well, back in the day, they didn't have a fence. and Buddy got caught. Tell the story.
Well, Curly Home, John Reed was the writer at the Picayune. And so we go up to the LSU baseball, the old box at the time.
And there's no fence around the football facility.
And so we go up there, and I'm sitting there going like, John, man, 32 was Kendall Cleveland. He looked good. He was a big running back. But Alan Faneca was 66. And we were sitting there going like, man, why is that guy not playing? So Curly, in his wisdom, actually redshirted a guy that ended up being a Hall of Fame lineman. But anyway, so I don't know how, but I said, John, come on, we can watch practice and all. So we start laughing, and so all of a sudden, Curly sends a little assistant up there, and we would have got away with it, but John couldn't stop laughing. And so the guy says, Buddy, Curly knows what you're doing. Y'all come down here right now. We're not going to have to do that anymore because hopefully we'll have a little bit more access. But listen.
Buddy, back in the day, sneaking no practice access, so he's sitting the upper deck of Alex's box when it overlooked.
Yeah,
wasn't Skip Burtman Drive yet.
No.
but it had like an upper deck,
yeah.
and you could
You
could watch across the street.
But look, we like more access, and we did a little bit now with Blake and me and you at the practice field. If there's more availability, I know most of the media goes, and everybody's going to be there.
But the point is, if knowing what he's doing in Notre Dame, if it's not any different, we know it's Bonnet's fault.
Well, no, I'm just saying we will do some updates again.
Yeah. But I'm throwing shade at Michael Bonnet.
I know
I'm warning him that right now we're on to him.
By the way, Scarlett, you get in touch with Mike for your wedding present. I am going to pay for you a full year of TigerBait on me. That's going to be your Christmas present and your wedding present. So you contact Mike, and I'm going to pay for you to be on TigerBait for a whole year. Because let me tell you what, kudos to you, my man. The site has grown tremendously, and I love seeing a lot of these new names in here. And welcome back, Fernie.
Fernie is lighting up our message board, our Tiger
Yeah.
Ethan Kaufman gives us $5 to say screw Kelly and LSU. Enjoy getting blown out in big games all time with big time Kelly. You're not getting Freeman either. Notre Dame beat LSU the last 2 times.
Okay, so let's turn this around.
Hey, Ethan, if you want to send some more barbs, man, you got another 5, another 10? I'll put them up.
No. But you see what he just did?
What?
So everybody realizes that LSU's been recruiting a little bit better than Notre Dame. I think I saw on Notre Dame they've been like 10, 8, 14. LSU's been pretty much everything under 7 or higher, but 1 year. So he's just talking about Notre Dame. They beat LSU twice, and most people after those bowl games thought what? LSU had more talent and shouldn't have lost the game. So that goes to show you Brian Kelly's got to be a pretty good coach.
Yeah, Scarlett said, no, not you guys. She wasn't fussing at us.
Well, she's still got that present.
Lamar Stevens, $9.99. Thank you. People keep talking about culture fit as a program. What is LSU football's culture? To me, it's like culture by national media means LSU's coach is supposed to be the class clown. I'm with you, Lamar. I'm with you. And that's why I was like, and that's why I was kind of way down on Kiffin from the get-go. After Miles and Orgeron not wanting a cartoon character anymore, and wanting the Ward Cleaver, like I like to say it, and they got it in Brian Kelly. So what they're talking about team culture, I think more is hard work and not letting the inmates run the asylum.
I think when you look at team culture right now, you see an inordinate amount of injuries. You see an inordinate amount of guys that get hurt and not come back and play. You see an inordinate amount of guys that were hot dogs and yappers. And let's not sugarcoat it. The last 2 years have been tough. But, to me, when I talk about the culture, it's like Eli Ricks, right out of the gate, he says, no, I don't care if it's Brian Kelly, I'm going elsewhere. He's going to get paid at Ohio State, and we've been talking about this. Good for him.
Where's it, Alabama?
Well, I've heard Alabama, but I also still think Ohio State's been with him longer, so we'll see. It's going to be one of those places. But my point is this. Eli Ricks is a me guy. Now, LSU screwed the pooch because I gave him the little deal here. I would have hooked him up with Dorino Schnitzel and got him an NIL deal because he was the biggest hot dog on the team. Could have got him all the hot dogs he wants.
You could see that in high school.
Exactly. And twice when he's taken pick sixes, didn't he raise up the ball and taunt? And then when the LSU coaches chewed on his ass, he didn't like it. Those days are over. This is going to be a guy that draws a line in the sand, and you're going to do it his way, and it may take a little bit of time, and it may take some transition and attrition, but I just think you're going to be a little more proud of the way they conduct themselves and play. And, Mike, we talked about it all the years. That was so special about 19. They won by offense. I think Kelly is not going to – he's never going to throw for 400 a game and 48 points a game, but he's going to do a lot of other things that are solid, fundamental coaches. And I'll just ask you this. Is the SEC, all the people I talk to at Alabama, Florida, Georgia, and all that, you know what they say? You guys potentially got a hell of a coach. Potential.
I believe so. Big time. Thank you, Lamar. Thank you for that. Thanks to all of you for the super chats. It's greatly appreciated. And so I really, of course, it's that time of the show where I want to talk about my dear friend Tony Freeman over at Assurance Financial, and we thank her for being a sponsor of the show each and every week. So here's the bottom line: if you're thinking of buying a new home or refinancing your current mortgage, but haven't found a lender you can trust, let me tell you about Tony Freeman with Assurance Financial here in Baton Rouge. She's a dear friend of mine and someone who many of my friends have used for their mortgage needs repeatedly. Her knowledge and over 25 years of experience in the mortgage industry is unsurpassed. Tony offers a wide range of knowledge of home loan products, whether you're a first-time home buyer ready to buy a new home or you just want to explore your refinance options. Tony can guide you through your next mortgage experience. You can feel confident you're making the best financial decision with Tony as your guide. Not only is Tony a huge LSU fan, but Assurance Financial is a proud partner of LSU Athletics. Give her a call today, 225-239-7150. Again, that's 225-239-7150. Tell her you heard about her on TigerBait. NMLS number 104765, Equal Housing Opportunity 70876.
Tony is got to be happy with the hire of Brian Kelly, because that kind of is the way that Tony does it.
We were supposed to have lunch today, and of course I couldn't. It was just too busy.
But attention to detail, making sure every I is dotted and T's crossed. And you know, when you do business with people like that, and Mike and Alex at Pride, it's so relaxing, because you know that they're going to be there for you. And I think that everybody we've talked to that have done business with Tony, they leave with a smile, because she's got the $1 million smile, but she's so classy and she's so good at her job. You get that sense of confidence, and I think she makes everybody feel like she's known you. She's known you for 5 years.
Anybody who's ever bought a home, refinanced a home, you know all the paperwork you got to have, this inspection, that deal. Nobody's going to help you through that and do it with a great personality better than her. So please give her a call and tell her you heard about her on TigerBait. Let me get through a few more of these.
Carl the Cat, once again, as I'm filling a little time, congratulations to Carl the Cat. Once again, Mike, for the 8th year in a row, Carl the Cat was voted one of the top 100 high school officials in the Baton Rouge area. Unfortunately, our buddy Eddie Fuller was top 50, but Carl, let's shoot for you at top 75 next year.
My guy Daniel Vlosky with Go Edits. Durante Jones and Mickey Joseph are out recruiting right now. Does that mean they're sticking around? No, they're still under contract, and we'll see what happens. But I tell you what, Durante Jones and the defense, that the way they looked after the Alabama the open date, man, that's and doing it with a lot of missing pieces. He's got an incredible future. I don't know where he ends up. But heck, Marcus Freeman gets the Notre Dame job, or if they get Luke Fickell, and then all of a sudden Marcus Freeman's the new head coach at Cincinnati, you know, how's this going to play out? Yeah. You know, there's so many shoes that can drop. What's his name? The A&M's defensive coordinator.
Mike Elko.
Elko. You know, does Kelly go pull him away from Jimbo after he lost him? You know, now that he's going to – I'm hearing what – he might have $4 million to get a defensive coordinator.
Yeah. He's going to have the money. By the way, Go Edits. I don't know that young man, but he does some fantastic.
Yeah, he does. Daniel's a great guy.
Kudos to him.
Follow him on Twitter.
Yes.
Let's see. What is the GP of the Tigers football team again? Walter Connolly. Let me guess. He's a Notre Dame fan?
The GPA?
Yeah.
Well, I will say this.
Don't you worry about that, Walter.
No. I will say this. LSU graduates every young man that wants to. And let's give Mark Emmert and Nick Saban a lot of credit. Jerry DiNardo wanted to put emphasis, because he was a Notre Dame guy, and he knew the importance of look, Mike, if you're more disciplined off the field and in the school year, in the classroom and all, then you got a chance to be more disciplined on the football field. But ever since they got the Cox building, I think LSU's done a much better job with graduating And the biggest problem they have with graduation numbers and GPAs is that so many of the LSU guys are thinking about the NFL right about the time they get midway through their sophomore year. And I'll take Keyshawn Butte for instance. I mean, he's got to be thinking, man, I had a great year, had another start to another great year, but how many balls is he going to get? But right now, I mean, come on. If he gets a degree, that's a hell of a tribute to him because you got to admit, he's going to go after this year.
Yep.
So,
Team Thompson Bass Fishing, thank you very much. $9.99 super chat. Preston's guests, of course, would say those things. They just lost a great coach. We have 3 times better athletes here and now, and we have a no nonsense coach to lead them to the top. Yeah, I need to go watch that. Preston said he was lit, but then some other people are taking issue with some of what he had to say. So I need to go watch and see what that was about.
I'm just glad it's over. I'm glad everybody can relax. I called Dr. Phil on Saturday. I said, man, I think you're going to have to come into Baton Rouge and handle some people because you were crusty one day and I was crusty as hell, whatever morning that was, yesterday morning or whatever. But now, listen, folks, we thought Curly Hallman was going to do okay because Gil Brandt with the Cowboys told Joe Dean, hire Curly Hallman.
Don't look back.
And don't ever look back. And it was a
But them girls in their soccer shorts.
chit show with a C. And then, of course, Donardo, remember? Bring back the magic. You remember the press conference, earthquake game and all that, brought the white unis back, but unfortunately lost Bull Reese and Morris Watts as his 2 coordinators, and that went to hell in a handbasket. So I think it is very important, these 2 coordinator hires for Brian Kelly. He's like a CEO. Nobody does it any better than Nick Saban with the revolving door of coordinators. And I will make this prediction. Bill O'Brien will not be back with Alabama. And, you know, I think if he hits a home run with his coordinators and then sprinkles in with the Louisiana flavor, whether it's Kevin or anybody else on the staff, Corey, and then you look at the schedule. I'm not trying to get everybody all crazy right now, but there's a chance that if LSU brings in the right guys and utilizes all 32 spots, there's a chance this could be a team, top 15, top 20, and open up the gates 5 or 6-0. You don't believe me? Go look at the schedule for next year.
Open up at Florida State on a Sunday.
In the Superdome, and then Southern and LSU will play the second week of the season, and that's going to be a great game for Baton Rouge, and certainly one that will help the Jags with their athletic department in that big check.
Yep. Lamar Stevens with another super chat. What's wrong with the future where LSU is described as disciplined, smart, and fundamentally sound? Absolutely nothing, Lamar.
And physical.
And that's why the move was made, and that's why he's the coach.
Well, Mike, look, how many times have we been saying this over the years? You and I have been talking on the radio for over 25 years. And offensive linemen, and I'm going to bring in Garrett Dellinger here real quick. Not that I want to get on to Jake Peets one more time, but when you have a freshman and you've got to play him at left tackle, didn't we say pretty much from fall camp and throughout the season, the guy probably projects as an inside guy, Dellinger? I don't think he's got the feet and the size. But if you were getting manhandled, most coordinators would put Mashburn over there to chip or running back over there to chip. But Garrett Dellinger, once again, a Midwest kid, he's going to be 15 pounds of muscle, and he's going to be robust. He's going to be passionate. He's going to look like a different player. That's the other thing that you mentioned that we can't wait to see. The strength and conditioning. Everybody knows Tommy Moffitt's had a great ride in the Sunset. Is he going to bring in somebody here that can get LSU to start looking like the Georgias and the Alabamas again in that uniform? But back to Dellinger, man, I can't believe he didn't get called for holding, because if that guy's whipping me every time, I'm going to get those hands in there and I'm going to grab on this jersey. But look, they gave up 4 sacks.
He took his lumps, but that's not his position.
That's not his position, but my point is that when you have a mismatch like that, come on, Jake, give him a little frickin' help. That was ridiculous.
Rick Kelly, Mike, did you notice that both LSU and the Saints have a large number of injuries? You got to count on the Saints' injuries?
Yeah, Saints, that we kind of called it karma. The injury karma bug has really, really hit. And, of course, as we know, Devin White got a little hate mail from the Saints fans when he took down Jameis Winston and, of course, the ACL.
Yep. Let's see.
Hey, I did also want to say this, Mike. This has been a hard season, and I think you and I both were told this numerous times. Look, what's the first thing that Brian Kelly's got to do? Recruit, establish the guys that are going to be in this early signing class, all those other things. But he's got to fill Tiger Stadium back up again. And LSU's got to fill it back up again. And it has been a shadow of itself. And I think if this thing falls into place the right way, I think you could have a lot of excitement going into the year. I don't know if we got hard numbers on how many season tickets they had for the 2020 COVID year or this year, but it's going to be interesting to see when's the last packed crowd that obviously it was in 19. The Florida game and some of the other games were memorable, but Mike, that crowd, I want to give them a clap.
Definitely,
those ones that were in that stadium, because everybody that stayed to the end, that was a great atmosphere. Even though how many members? What you think?
I got
30 or 40 at the end.
I'll tell you this: that's the latest I've ever gotten to a football game, and the media has two different lots, and I've got the lot next where we go to park for practice.
Mm-hmm.
Softball lot on the other side of the
right.
the ditch from the from the football practice facility. I pulled up a little after 5 o'clock, and I had the pick of the lot. Usually, if you get there that late, I'm looking to try and put my vehicle in between, where I can get it.
Yeah.
And so the crowd was just, but they were treated to a great game.
But my point is that when you're
Great
spending
finish.
this kind of money with a head coach and the staff, and don't forget, you're still paying a lot of people. Coco ain't got to worry about ham sandwiches and hamburgers for a long time, and neither does Brandy or whoever. But lo and behold, you've got to get Tiger Stadium back to being an intimidating venue. And my point is that I think you can do that with this coach.
Scarlett Brown with the super chat. Thank you, Scarlett. She wants to know, what about Dan Mullen as offensive coordinator, with a smiley face, with a tear, laughing.
Dan Mullen, why does it look? He's getting paid an enormous. I want to say he's getting paid $12 million or whatever from Florida. Everybody always thinks the guy that just got fired wants to be offensive coordinator. Mike, if you're a head coach, Dan Mullen's going to get some feelers. But that's like Coach O. Somebody asked me, "Where's Coach O going to land?" I said, wherever the hell he wants to park his vehicle. He doesn't need to coach next year. And I don't think Dan Mullen is a possibility, Scarlett. But I do think that your husband's very, very lucky.
Denley Nelson, Scarlett Brown, we don't like Dan Mullen in Louisiana. Look, he's not.
I liked him a lot this year because he let Todd Davis Price continue to run the same play over and over again. That's, when Jake Peets makes you look bad on defense, I hated to see Coach Grantham get released at Florida.
Maybe Dan Mullen could be the next coach at ULL. I tell you what, I've enjoyed that because LSU has had 2 rotten seasons, but the constant in the 2 rotten seasons was wins over Florida.
I think I looked
Orgeron had Florida's number. Of course, the interim year with Geis and not getting the end zone and costing them a Sugar Bowl.
But I think LSU's beat them 9 of the last.
But other than
games.
that, it's
3 straight times. And that's the other thing too. When Oklahoma and Texas come into this league, and I had a guy last week say, "You dumbass, they're coming in the league in 2025." Well, I'm just going to say, I think it's hard to get a divorce and live in the same house for 4 years, don't you?
Yeah, I don't think.
I think it's 2023. They've already put the schedule out for next year, but 2023, I think Oklahoma and Texas are in the SEC on the schedule.
Guys, hit the subscription button and the notification bell on YouTube. I'm looking at our analytics. I think 40% of our viewers aren't subscribed, but I can tell. Hit the subscription and the notification bell. We're loading videos, and I'm going to be there tomorrow at the press conference, Lawton Room, and we're going to have full coverage of Brian Kelly's press conference tomorrow. And then now that all the dust is settled, we know who the coach is going to be, the aftermath, the breakdown, the analysis. It's going to be on TigerBait.com. It's going to be recruiting, wall to wall, and it's going to be coaching hires, staff members, analysts, who's staying, who's going. And then, we're going to see, we're going to have some bowl practices to cover. Yeah. And what's the access for that? It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be, there's going to be so much news out there that all the news media from different outlets are basically going to have to just use each other.
Yeah.
Because there's no way one outlet is going to be able to cover everything that's going to happen because there's so much, and it's going to be a whirlwind. I mean, think about all the things that we got to cover. And then you're trying to do that, and you got the basketball team playing. Luckily, they're going to have an exam break. What do you got? Women against Iowa State coming up
Thursday night.
So just won the San Juan shootout, or won their 2 games. So, but recruiting December 15th, signing day, and so the Jacoby Matthews, they were at Ponchatoula. The coaches that are still under contract are out working. And I think Quincy Wiggins are going to be waiting to see what happens there. Shaz Preston, Kendrick Law, Harold Perkins, and on and on. I think things are about to bust wide open.
Yeah.
So you want to go to TigerBait and subscribe. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out what Preston showed earlier. And go to TigerBait and subscribe. Choose the annual package. Like I always tell you, you save 3 months versus the monthly. And you'll want to see that interview I did with Mike Frank from Irish Sports Daily. He had a pretty different take about the struggles that Notre Dame might be having. Before I go, what his thought was the number one reason. Obviously there's a money deal, but you know what his number one thought was of what is going to be it was gnawing at Kelly. They've got issues with the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Because of Notre Dame's curriculum.
Sure.
They can't take when all the schools are going to be looking for the transfer portal to bring in where they have holes. That's hard to do at Notre Dame.
Yeah. And the JC, not recruiting JC. Look, Brian Kelly is going to have an opportunity to recruit at places he could not go before. I know a lot of people are saying, yeah, but that offense is Les Miles 2.0. We're going to monitor the coordinator situation. We talked about how important it is for a guy like him who is the CEO. But Tiger fans, you finished 6-6, and you got the most winning active coach in college football right now. Now, as Preston likes to say, there are now 4 active coaches. Now that Coach O is out, 4 active coaches that have won national championships. And so be patient. It's so easy to be opinionated about this hire. But, Mike, we don't know. We don't know how this thing is going to work out. But I really think there's a chance it could be special.
Is there a chance that it could be 4 in 20 years? 03 to 23?
You never know. You never know. I mean, look, he's going to build it. And the bottom line
if you call it a rebuild job, is it a 2-year, 3-year?
I think by year 2, LSU fans are going to be expecting big things. I really do.
All right. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Please share it to your Facebook. Let the word out on TigerBait. And we'll see you on the other side. LSU basketball tomorrow night. And we're going to have loads of stuff for you tomorrow on the Brian Kelly press conference. I'll be there. And so thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on the other side. Good night.